Yeah, so we'll just go ahead and get started. I am so excited to be here with you today because we're going to talk about what's really going on when we're struggling to conceive or when we are trying to conceive or even thinking about it and it feels a little nerve-wracking because there are some things that really are what's often getting in the way, and it can be much simpler than it feels at the time. So that's what I'm so excited to share with you today. And I remember when I was learning about all of this and I was trying everything and anything that might help, won't hurt, might help. I was willing to try it. And I tried so many different things and I was getting a piece from here and a piece from there and trying this and seeing what worked. And now, over the course of the last, turns out it's been like 10 years now, I've been able to consolidate this down to what actually works. It can be one of the most maddening things in the world when someone's like, just relax and it'll happen. And you're like, of course I want to relax. Wouldn't that be great? But how? And so that's what we're here to talk about today is how to get to that point where that place of feeling like I'm doing everything that's necessary. I know it's on its way. It's going to happen. I can actually enjoy my life in the meantime. And then that will then translate into that pregnancy and becoming a parent or becoming a parent again and all of the different transitions that are to come following having actually conceived. So I'm needless to say, I'm really excited that you're here because I've seen this work time and again. First of all, for myself, but now over the last 6 years for woman after woman after woman who was having a hard time for whatever the case may be, whatever reason. So I'm here to tell you that reconnecting with yourself is literally the only way. And so I have the 3 steps that I want to share with you of what do I mean when I say reconnecting with yourself. And at the end, if you want to stay on after I conclude the training portion, I'll be sharing a little bit about a new program that I have that's going to be kicking off in a couple of weeks. So you can stay on for that if you want, and we'll do some Q&A, and I can answer any questions you have about anything that I've covered today during the training or about that program. The very first thing I want to do before we even get into the training is just take a moment to kick off that reconnection with ourselves. One of maybe my actual favorite way for kicking off that reconnection to self is in using our breath. And that's because our breath is with us all the time, literally 24/7. It's right there. And it's a tremendous gateway to be able to signal to our bodies, like in our minds, everything's good. We can just settle in here. So I want to just take us just for a couple of minutes, maybe like a minute and a half, maybe even. We're going to inhale slowly through our noses and then exhale even more slowly through our mouths. And when you exhale through your mouth, if you feel comfortable to do so, feel free to turn your volume off if it's still on. I want you to see if you can make a sound like as you exhale. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do that together just for a moment. We're going to inhale if you want. Excuse me. If you want to, just go ahead and close your eyes. Or if you can't do that, that's totally fine. You can use this breath in times where you can close your eyes and go inward, or times where like there are other things going on and it's not feasible to close your eyes either. Either way is okay. So go ahead and close your eyes if you want, or leave them open. And we're going to inhale slowly through our noses. And then exhale even more slowly through our mouths. Inhale through your nose. And then exhale slowly through your mouth. Inhale and exhale. One more. Inhale and exhale. And just returning to your natural breath and just taking a moment to notice how you're feeling. Just seeing if you notice anything within your body, your mind. Ideally, you just feel a little more settled. I know I always do after I do that. So thanks for doing that with me. So thanks for being here today. I'm Sarah Denio. I live in upstate New York. I'm a fertility coach and energetic healer. I'm the founder of a business called Kindness, and all of this comes from my journey to and through trying to conceive to parenthood. I now have two kids, 10 and 7 years old, which is crazy to think about because I feel like it was just yesterday that I was in this place of trying to figure out what the heck was going on. I was stressing about trying to have a baby, and I knew that wasn't helping anything, but I just didn't know what else to do. And so over the course of the last 10 plus years, I've now made it my mission to really be able to consolidate down to the things that work. And that's what I'm here to share with you today. My journey started, again, it was like 12 years ago at this point. My husband and I got married. I have a huge family. I thought we get married, we buy a house, we start a family, just like, you hear, right? And my path wasn't exactly that easy. I never had a hard time actually getting pregnant, although it felt to me like it was taking forever. It was only like, it wasn't taking me that long to actually get pregnant, but I was stressing about it. I had a plan in my mind, like I thought we were going to get married and then we would start trying. I would go off birth control and we would start trying and then we'd get pregnant pretty quickly. And when it didn't happen immediately, I started wondering, is there something wrong with my body? Is everything okay? Should I be doing more? Should I be doing less? Like I was going nuts. And it turns out I was getting in my own way. So I was able, fortunately, to conceive, to have my first daughter. I ended up having a C-section with her. My second daughter, when she came around, like I had some losses in between. I had two losses before my first daughter and then two more before I had my second daughter. And it may sound crazy, but I wouldn't change in it one thing about my journey. It was really stressful and it was hard and there was a lot of heartache, but I learned so much about how powerful I actually am. And that's why I'm here today, because I want to help you see wherever you are on your journey, whether you're just starting and you have that timeline in your mind of when you want things to happen, or maybe that deadline has already passed, or maybe you're healing after a loss, or maybe you're just starting to think about trying again. Wherever you are along that journey, there are things that you can do to make it simpler, to reconnect with yourself so that no matter where you are on that journey, you know you're right in the right spot. So you can actually relax, so that you can trust that you are doing the things that are needed to conceive and grow new life and have a healthy pregnancy and grow your family. That's what we're here to talk about today. So let's see. Just wanted to see if there was anything else I wanted to cover about that. No, I think that's good. So let's get straight to why you're here. I want to talk about what's really going on when someone is struggling to conceive. Or again, if you haven't even started trying, but you're already worrying about who am I going to be, know how to, what to do and do enough things and all that sort of stuff. The short answer is, at a foundational level, if you take nothing else away from this, what I want you to remember is you are energy, and your job is to align your energy with that goal that you have of having a baby. And the way to do that is what we're going to talk about. But is by energy works on resonance. It works on whatever you are emitting, whatever is comprising your energy is what you're going to be drawing to yourself. And so it, if you've been having a hard time, whether it's just been a couple of months or you're even just thinking about it and it's starting to feel stressful, or maybe it's been years, maybe you've already been through fertility treatments, maybe you're considering fertility, wherever it is, it's okay. There's just something going on right now that means your energy isn't quite aligned with it just yet. But the wonderful, amazing news that I love is that that can change in an instant. And that's why I'm so passionate about this, because so many of us, we try to do so many more things. We end up with this huge laundry list of to-dos to try to give ourselves the best shot every month. And it ends up just creating more stress because we have more things to do. And that's not the way. There are a few things to do, and that's what we're going to talk about. And beyond that, ideally, you're focusing on living your life and feeling good. So that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to share with you, excuse me, we're going to talk about what's going on, and I'm going to give you a brief overview of, excuse me, those three areas that need to be looked at. Excuse me, just a moment. Thank you. The three areas that need to be looked at. I'm going to talk really briefly about why each of them is crucial, and then how you can evaluate for yourself if that's an area that might need a little extra love in your life. Does that sound good? Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started with that. So I want to just jump right into the factors that are at play in the areas of your life and yourself that need to be looked at when you're planning on trying to conceive or when you are trying to conceive. The very first, and this is like the foundation for anything else, is your nervous system. Your nervous system is the gatekeeper for anything and everything that's going on within you. This becomes incredibly important when it comes to fertility and conception, and here's why. When we are perfectly designed, and I know it may not feel that way if you've been struggling, if you've been having a hard time for a couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of months, even years, it may not feel like you're perfectly designed, but the thing is you actually are. What we need to do is just support you in being able to use that design to your advantage. And here's what I mean. We are wired with a fight or flight survival response that keeps us here, that keeps us safe. If we were an animal that's out in the wild, say I'm a gazelle and I see a lion, I'm going to get, as the gazelle, a burst of a cascade of hormones sent into my system that would give me the burst of speed that I need to get away from that lion. As a gazelle, I get away from that lion, I go back to grazing. I'm just enjoying my gazelle life again. I'm not worrying about the lion. I'm not telling my friends about the lion. I'm not thinking about what it meant that the lion was chasing me and why and what I'm going to do next. None of that. This is the rub as humans. We have these beautiful conscious thinking minds that are then analyzing everything that happens. I thought I was going to get pregnant this month and I didn't. What does that mean? What do I need to do differently? Why? What's wrong with me? The problem with that is, as we're thinking about that, whereas the gazelle went back to grazing and just enjoying its gazelle life, we are perpetuating the release of those stress chemicals into our system. And here's where that becomes really problematic. Of course, stress doesn't feel good. That's one thing. But from a conception and fertility and healthy pregnancy perspective, when those stress chemicals are coursing through our system, when we perceive any sort of a threat and we're under any sort of stress on an ongoing basis, I'm not talking about just like momentary stress that washes through, no big deal. When we are experiencing stress on a more regular basis, where we have those hormones coursing through our system, our body thinks something's wrong. And when it thinks something is wrong, it's sending our resources like our blood and energy out to our limbs so that we are ready to fight, flee, or hide from this imminent threat. And when our resources are out in our limbs, they're not in the core of our body where they're needed in order to grow and nurture new life. Does that make sense? So stress, of course, we hear like, oh, stress is bad. Stress doesn't feel good. Right, of course. But when it comes to fertility and conception, this is everything, because if your nervous system does not know you are safe, you will not be able to conceive. When those resources are being sent out to your limbs, in order to have that energy, other things need to be shut down temporarily, and that includes the ability to conceive. So that's why, number one, I want you to look at, am I experiencing stress regularly in my life? Whether it relates to trying to get pregnant, but it may be other areas of your life. Maybe it's your job, maybe it's family, maybe just taking an honest look at, am I experiencing stress in my life? So let's talk about what that looks like. So some symptoms of nervous system dysregulation as it relates to fertility and conception. It might look like when you think about trying to conceive, do you feel calm? Or do you feel like it brings anxiety? There are looping thoughts, like your mind is on a hamster wheel. Does it feel easy? Does it feel like your body knows what to do and you don't have to like try a lot of extra hoops to jump through? Or do you feel like you need to control it? Does it feel like there's a lot of time pressure, like it needs to happen now? Another is asking yourself, like, do I feel like I trust myself? Do I trust my body? Overall, do I feel like I trust this process? Or do you find yourself over analyzing what you need to do, whether you did it right, whether you should be doing more, what symptoms you're experiencing, symptoms of ovulation, symptoms of potential pregnancy, early pregnancy, tracking your cycle? Does it feel good overall? Or does it feel like there's a heightened state of arousal, so to speak, that maybe tends toward feeling more anxious, feeling more stressed than feeling okay, feeling at ease? So that's number one. That's a number one area to look at when you're trying to conceive, because if your body doesn't know that you're okay and that you're safe, you can put all the other ducks in a row. You can do fertility treatment and put the perfect sperm and perfect egg together and put that back into your body. But if your body is not ready to receive because it doesn't know you're safe, it's not going to work. So that's why that's the number one thing to look at. Number two, the second area to look at is around your desires. Do you have a desire focus in your life? Like what I'm talking about is your thoughts creating your feelings. We have like 60,000 thoughts every single day as humans, but only 5% of them are conscious. Isn't that crazy? The other 95% are thoughts that we don't even know are there. They're just something that we thought enough times that we no longer have to consciously think it. It's just automatic. So where this comes into play is we need to ensure, you need to like check in to see, do my thoughts, do my overall thoughts that are programmed in, do they seem aligned with this desire that I have to grow my family? So you might want to think about like, do you feel like you're spending the majority of your time feeling good about this? Does it feel like it's going to happen? Does it feel like it's on its way and you don't have to control it? You don't have to try to do 50 million different things and change your diet and track different things or whatever. Or does it feel different from that? Because that would suggest that your subconscious programming is getting in the way here. The other that I see oftentimes is when things haven't happened according to the timeline that we thought they were going to, we go into doubt even in the future months. And it's like, I don't want to get my hopes up because if like I let myself get excited in last month and then it was like everything came crashing down. And so I don't even want to let myself think about that. So that might be what it would look like as it relates to a desire focus. You need to be able, it's essential to be focusing on what you actually want. So some things to ask yourself or what this might look like if it's out of balance. Do you truly expect that you are going to be pregnant? Like this is going to happen when the time is right. It's just definitely going to happen. You don't need to try to do more things and figure more things out. Or do you feel like you really do need to do a lot more things, or you're not even sure what those things are, but you're pretty sure like you're not doing enough. You need to be doing enough or need to be doing more. Here's a big one. Just asking yourself, when I think about getting pregnant, does it feel exciting or does it feel daunting and scary? And does it like create, like butterflies are normal, of course, right? Like this is like an exciting thing, but what are the thoughts that come along with those butterflies if you feel them in your stomach? Is it like an kind of feeling, or is it like, ooh, exciting? Like, let's see what's going to happen. The other thing you might be able to ask yourself or want to ask yourself when it comes to this desire focus is, do you have an idea? Are you close to that vision of what it looks and feels like to be a mom or to be a mom of two or three or however many kids it is that you're going for? Do you know what that looks like? And of course, you don't know exactly what it looks like because it hasn't happened yet. But do you feel a connection to that vision? Can you feel that when you think about it? And does it feel good? That's the second key, is a desire focus, because our thoughts and our feelings are what is creating our reality 24/7. It's just a fact of how manifestation works, how things happen in our lives. It's all a product of our thoughts and our feelings. So your job ideally is, number one, to be in a state where your nervous system is calm and it feels like everything's okay. It knows that you're safe. And number two, to be focusing on what you actually want and participating in those thoughts and those feelings on a really regular basis. Does that mean you're supposed to banish any thoughts that are around like being nervous about this? Of course not. No, we're not. We're still human, and it's really important to be human. It's just looking at, do I feel good about this more than I feel nervous or anxious? What is the balance here? So that's number two. The third factor that is at play that needs to be addressed is often the big one, which is what I affectionately refer to as the gunk. The gunk is interference that we're carrying around that is getting in the way of number one or number two. So getting in the way of our nervous system being able to be in a calm state, or getting in the way of our ability to focus on what we actually want and feel those feelings around what we're actually going for. Our emotions are stored up in our body anytime something happens that doesn't feel good and we're not fully able to process it in the moment. So that happens anytime something doesn't feel good and we avoid it or we resist it, or for whatever reason we're like have to sweep it under the rug for right now. Those things get stored up in our body. And that's okay. This is part of being human. The challenge is, as I was saying earlier about our thoughts and our feelings, a lot of the time, we have things that got programmed in a long time ago, and we don't even know that they're there any longer. But they are creating interference right now in this moment because those emotions are stored up in our body. And anytime something remotely similar occurs, if that feeling pops in and says, don't think that, ooh, danger, don't go there. And that's going to get in the way of your ability to actually just be here in the moment with this possibility that this is going to be your month, with the possibility that your nervous system can be calm. So this is why the third area is to look at what emotional baggage, so to speak, might you be carrying around. Some questions to ask yourself would be like, do you feel like you're missing something? And it seems like no matter what you try, no matter what you do, you cannot figure it out. You cannot put your finger on what that is. This is often like a type A. I work with so many women who are traditionally like type A, and they're used to doing in order to get the result that they're looking for, and it's not working with trying to conceive. And this is the reason why. Another might be like, do you notice that you feel ashamed that you're not pregnant yet? Or that other people are pregnant in the way that you feel about them being pregnant, and that you feel jealous and then you feel like a jerk for feeling jealous, like all of those kinds of things. Or maybe it reminds you when you see that someone else has what you want and you don't have it yet, there's just this nagging feeling that almost reminds you of something from childhood. And maybe you don't even remember what that is, but it just feels like this feeling that's been with you for the longest time. And here it is again, coming to the surface because you're the one who's not pregnant yet. Another might be a feeling like you need to limit yourself, like you shouldn't have a glass of wine when you go out to your friend's birthday party, or maybe you shouldn't plan a fun trip, or go away because it might interfere with your ovulation, or it might be interfere with like, what if you actually get pregnant? So you're limiting yourself and you're in this energy of scarcity and focused on the negative side of things rather than the upside of like, oh, that would be fun. And if I happen to get pregnant, we'll figure it out kind of thing. The last would be feeling like you need it to happen in order to feel better. So just feeling like you're not able to relax. So to summarize, the three factors that are at play that I want you to take a look at, and we'll talk more about it in just a moment, those three areas of life to look at are having a regulated nervous system, having a connection to that clear vision of what it is that you actually want, and the feeling of being pregnant and being a mother and what that's like, and participating in those thoughts and feelings regularly. And then third, looking at that gunk, so to speak, that might be interfering with number one or number two. Because that's really all that's needed. Your nervous system to be calm enough for your body to do what it knows naturally how to do, for your thoughts and feelings to be aligned with your goal, because that's what's actually drawing you into your life. And then to have the awareness of the things that might have happened. We all have emotional baggage that we're carrying around. So what might be getting in the way? So I want to pause here for a moment and have you just zoom out and notice, ideally without any judgment, whether it feels like this resonates with you. You know, are there parts of this that resonate? And if so, what does your gut say about where you'd benefit from focusing some of your attention? So just take a moment and see, nervous system, desire, focus, or interference. And maybe it's just one of those areas, or maybe it's all three, doesn't matter. Because what I want to do next is actually talk about strategies for supporting yourself, depending on what you've noticed. So I'm going to give you one simple thing that you can do each day relating to any of those. Great, happy to hear that. It was very helpful. So if you identify that your nervous system could benefit from some calming, the very best thing you can do for yourself, in my opinion, as a practice, is anytime you notice stress, doesn't matter where it's coming from, anytime you become aware that you are experiencing stress, I want you to notice your breath and make your exhale longer than your inhale. So you can literally like count on your inhale. Oh, that was 4. And then exhale and try to make it like 7 or 8 or something. But you don't have to do that. You can just take a shorter breath or take your natural breath and make sure you're extending your exhalation, just as we did earlier on. And that's because that is literally signaling to your nervous system that you are safe, that you can come back into this present moment right here, grounded in this moment. And whatever it is that's going on that's causing the stress, it doesn't mean the stress is going to go away. It's just that your ability to respond to it will be different. Okay. So if you notice that feeling calm is the area that you want to focus on, that's the thing I want you to do. Just anytime you notice stress, just make your exhalation longer. Do like 3 or 4 breaths where your exhalation is longer than your inhale. You can also make it a practice for yourself where you like put it on your phone 2 to 3 minutes, like in the morning or before you go to bed, where you're deliberately closing your eyes and breathing in that fashion. But it's great to just do it in the moment too. If you identified the desire focus area as the one that you feel like could use some more love, there are a few things I want you to do. The first is to make a list of the things that you're looking forward to about being a mom or about being a mom of 2 or 3 or whatever it is, that vision. Just make a list. What are the things that you're looking forward to about that? How cool is that going to be? What is it? Why do you want that? And once you have that list, it doesn't have to be this huge laundry list. You can use 10 pieces of paper. You can use half a scribble piece. It doesn't matter. What I want you to do is look at what are the feelings that I'm going for with those things that I'm looking forward to when that destination is actually here. And when you're able to identify what those feelings are, I want you to actually look at how can I support myself in actually experiencing those feelings now. So I'm not waiting for the destination of being pregnant or having a family of 10 or whatever it is. I don't need to wait until I get there. How do I support myself in feeling those feelings right now? And just be really open. Listen to your gut. Maybe it's going out and getting your nails done or going out for a walk or sitting and reading your favorite book. Who knows? Whatever it is, allow yourself, see if you can give yourself permission to participate in that feeling now. And set the intention also to read through your list on a daily basis too, because that can be fun and to connect with that list of what you're looking forward to. If you noticed the interference or gunk area as the one that you really feel you want to or need to focus on most, the very first step is always, as you become aware of that gunk or the thing that doesn't feel good, the thoughts, whatever it is, as you notice that, your awareness is the key. Because with your awareness, you then have the option of choosing to stay present with it, not resist it, not sweep it back under the rug because it doesn't feel good. Of course, that's what you want to do. That's why it's there in the first place. That's how we get in these situations. Of course, it doesn't feel good, but sweeping it back under the rug just leaves it under the rug for it to be addressed at some other time. By allowing yourself to just stay present with those feelings just for this moment, oftentimes that's enough. It's enough to just honor it and it will move along. So those are the 3 strategies I have for you. As far as next steps, what I want you to do right now is ask yourself, what action do I want to set the intention I'm going to take? So just take a moment and note for yourself, when I get off this call, which of these 3 things, maybe you just pick one, maybe you pick all of them, whatever you want to do. Is it a nervous system focus? Is it the desire focus? Is it the gunk and interference focus? And set the intention to show up for yourself. with nothing but love and compassion for yourself, knowing, believing, seeing if you can allow yourself to believe this is it. This is all you need to do. Other than somehow getting that sperm and that egg to meet up when you're ovulating, or literally, this is the only other thing that's needed. Each time you notice that old habit, whether it's stress, whether it's protecting yourself and not thinking about what you actually want and not letting yourself feel that, or you're noticing the old stuff popping in, each time you're overthinking and you catch yourself and you come to your breath. Each time you implement one of these strategies, you are bringing yourself closer to that destination of what you actually want. The destination is actually here and now. And I know that sounds so cheesy, but there's no other way than feeling the way that you want to feel now. And so these are the strategies that's why I've shared these strategies with you, because doing something to support yourself and reconnecting with yourself here in this moment, that's it. That's going to align your energy with that desire that you have. And that's the key. I know it sounds crazy because we hear and we think we need to do some configuration of things in order for things to work if it hasn't yet. I'm telling you, these are the things, these are the keys. I've seen it time and again. And I know it's maddening when people are like, just relax and it's going to happen. Of course, you want to relax. If you thought you could just relax and it would just happen, why wouldn't you just relax? Of course. This is how. This is how you get to just relax. Your only job, other than making sure that you are, whether it's having sex or in some other way, merging that sperm and egg, this is it. Giving yourself the best shot every month is around time of ovulation, making sure that's happening, but otherwise throughout the entire time, including that time, calming your nervous system, focusing on what you actually want and allowing yourself to participate in the feelings of that, and noticing when there's the presence of some energy that's not aligned with either of those and staying present with it so that it can move along. Excuse me. That's it. I've seen these strategies change lives. And I know that's a dramatic thing to say, but it's true, because it changes lives in that women are then able to get pregnant and have babies, and that changes your life, obviously. But even bigger than that is that these strategies, we all need something that happens in order to encourage us to learn something new. And this doesn't apply just to having a baby or growing your family. This applies to the whole of life and how you can have anything you want simply by reconnecting with yourself and what you actually desire. I've seen it work time and again, and I'm so excited for it to be you next. So this concludes the training portion of our program. And if you're interested in staying on, I'm just going to talk a little bit about an exciting program that I have coming up that's starting in 2 weeks. So this is called Conception Accelerator Group Coaching. And it's a container of support and lessons and practices and strategies and accountability for showing up to do everything that we just talked about. So calming your nervous system and figuring out what is it that you really desire and what does that feel like, and in learning how to intentionally spend a lot more time in that space than in the space of fear and worry and doubt and all of those sorts of things. But the biggest piece maybe is that you get to learn tools and strategies and practices to work with clearing that gunk. Because again, we are all human. We've been here gathering various experiences that didn't get processed in the time. We're carrying around all sorts of emotion from prior areas of our life. And I sort of giggling about it, but it's because it feels so heavy when we're carrying those things. And it's actually very simple to release. And so once you learn how, that's part of what we will do in the group coaching. Once you learn how, then none of that stuff gets to have much power over you any longer, because you've had the experience of being able to support yourself in releasing whatever it is that no longer serves you and coming back to yourself. So this program is a 3-month program where I will show you exactly what to do, and you get to just follow along, follow my lead. We will be having a kickoff call in a couple of weeks. And then there are weekly group coaching calls where we will be talking about, I'll be sharing the lessons and the strategies and the tools and the practices, and we'll be trying them out together. In addition to that, other than the weekly calls, you actually get monthly one-on-one sessions with me as well. So we can be talking about and diving into your unique situation, your unique gunk and what's happened, your unique desires as it relates to, becoming a mom or growing your family, and your unique nervous system. So there are monthly one-on-one coaching calls with me as well. And it's just essentially ongoing support for that 3-month period that we're together. So I'm really excited about this because it's going to be amazing. It's kicking off in a couple of weeks. There's an early bird special going on right now. So if you sign, the program is starting on I almost said May, April 10th. And if you sign up by the end of this month, so which means like by the end of this coming weekend, you actually get one additional private coaching session with me. So you can actually schedule that like to happen even before the program starts, or you can save it for during or even after, however you want to use that. But you get an extra private coaching session with me as well if you sign up by this weekend. By the end of that program, you will have more, undoubtedly, you will have more anxiety. I'm sorry, more anxiety. It's the opposite of what you want. You will have, oh my goodness, more excitement than anxiety about your ability to grow your family. You will have trust and confidence in your body, in yourself, in your ability to have whatever it is that you want, including growing your family. You will have faith that you are doing exactly what you need to do, and there's nothing more that you need to be doing in order to grow your family. And you'll actually have the experience with be experienced with how to calm your body, how to calm your mind, not just for pregnancy, but for life in general and beyond as well. And last, but of course not least, is this renewed ability to actually enjoy life and to be able to go with the flow and trust that everything you want is on its way and you need to do nothing more than feel good, which I know sounds crazy, but it literally is everything. So that's it. That's about the coaching program as well. I'm sorry, I'm realizing I've gone over a few minutes on time, but I want to check and see if anyone has any questions. You can pop them right into the chat here. Again, thank you so much for coming, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Okay, so I'm seeing one around if it's okay to do this in conjunction with therapy and or in conjunction with fertility treatment? And the answer to both is yes. I've worked with a lot of women who have either, well, in both cases actually, have either been seeing a therapist in the past or are currently seeing a therapist or have tried fertility treatment in the past or are currently seeking fertility treatment, and all of them. So the women who have been seeing a therapist in the past, what they have always, every single one have said is, I was in therapy like for years and I have made more progress and I feel entirely different after this brief period of a few months than I had ever before. And I feel so much more empowered because of these tools and because of these strategies. And similarly with fertility treatment, my gut says that it's the nervous system piece and the gunk piece that are missing. Well, probably all three, honestly, once I think about it. Like you can be merging the perfect sperm and egg and transferring them back into your body. But if your nervous system is out of whack, because this is really, it's been so hard and there's so much to it, or if you're afraid to get your hopes up because the stats aren't great around the success of fertility treatment, or if you're coming into that with some baggage, like it doesn't matter that the perfect sperm and egg are together. It's that your body needs to be ready to receive that and support it growing into a new life. And so that's what this is for. And I think that's really why the women that I've worked with become pregnant, even if they've been feeling like they're running around in circles for years. So the answer to both of those is yes, you can do therapy. You can be in therapy or have been in therapy in the past, and same with fertility treatment. Mm, wonderful. Awesome. Let's see. Okay. So I'm also seeing, is it okay to do this after a loss, or how does it relate to if you've experienced loss in the past? And the answer is absolutely yes. I personally, as I mentioned earlier, experienced several losses on my journey to having the two daughters that I have now. And I was shocked by the depth of grief that I could feel for a little person that I never was able to meet. And I truly believe that the tools and strategies and practices that I have learned as a result of that then enabled me to process that grief in such a way that I am able to talk. It doesn't mean I never get upset, of course, but I am able to talk about it now, and I'm able to hold space and be present in those emotions with others, because I've been there, and I have the tools and strategies to support, like, actually being present with it and honoring that grief, and being able to move forward as well. Let's see. Anything else? Any other questions? All right. If not, I want to say thank you so much for being here with me today. I continue to be here as a resource for you. If you're interested in learning more about the group coaching program, you can either just hop over to the Kindness website. It's kind-nest.com, and then /group-coaching, or you can just hit the group coaching button there. If you want to chat more about it, you can always set up a strategy session, a free strategy session with me so we can talk through it. But otherwise, if you think you might be interested in that, make sure to sign up by the end of this weekend so that you can get that extra one-on-one session with me. And I'm here for any questions. So I know myself, sometimes when I attend a training like this, there's like a lot, we've covered a lot in a relatively short period of time. And afterward, I'm like, oh, I wish I thought to ask, whatever. So in the event that happens to you, feel free to reach out to me and just send me a message, and I'm happy to answer any questions that come up afterward as well. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. This concludes our call. I hope to see you soon. Good luck.